Let's go over 1281, subtract the product and sum of an integer. Given an integer number n, so we're given a number, return the difference between product and its digits and the sum of its digits. So products of digits and sum of digits. So what we want is, as a result, we want product minus the sum of whatever the number that we have. So if you look at our example 1, n is equal to 234, right? And this is a number, and we want the product of these individual digits. So that's 2 times 3 times 4, and sum is 2 plus 3 plus 4, and product is equal to 24, and the sum is equal to 9. And if we do the math, we get 15, and that's the result that we get here as an output. Okay, now let's code our result. First thing we do is declare our function, which takes in a parameter n, which is an integer. And first thing we want to do is change this integer into an array of numbers. So I'm just gonna make a num array, and this is going to be string, which takes in n. So first thing we do is convert this integer into a string, and I'm gonna use a string method .split, and this is going to split the numbers into an array with 2, 3, and 4. So if we just return this, return num array. So if we look at our array, we have 2, 3, and 4, and they're not numbers, they're strings, because we converted these into strings. And next, we want to make another variable named let product is equal to 1, and another one is sum is equal to 0. The reason why product is 1 is because if you set product to 0 and you multiply these numbers, you're always going to end up with 0. So you want the product to equal to 1 always. Okay, and what we want as a result is product minus the sum. That's what the question is asking. Alright, so now let's make a for loop for let I is equal to 0 and start at index I. I is gonna be less than num array dot length, increment by 1. I'm just gonna make a variable. Current value is equal to num array at index I. So what we want to do now is basically get the product of all the digits and sum of all its digits. And one thing I forgot is I want to convert this to numbers. So we convert it to numbers, because if we don't do numbers here, it's gonna be strings, and strings aren't going to work with numbers, right? So product times equals current value, and sum is going to be plus equals current value. And if we check our results, we get 15 and 21. So 15 for our first one and 21 for our second example. So it looks good. Let's go for our code one more time. So we make our function, which takes in a parameter, and remember, this is an integer, it's a number, right? And what we did next was we made a nums array that splits this integer into an array. So before doing that, we want to convert this n into a string, or you could have used to string method if you wanted, but same thing. And then after that, we split, so we get an array of, if you were to look at second example, 4, 2, 4, 2, 1, and these are numbers, these are strings. And we declare two variables, product and sum, and this is where we're going to store our product and sum. And product has to be 1, because if we make it equal to 0, whatever you multiply 0, it's always gonna return 0. So we make it equal to 1. And we make a for loop to iterate through our num array. Just made a current variable that is equal to num array at index I, and we want to convert this to number, and right now it's a string. Remember, we converted to a string over here, and now we have to convert it to a number here to do the mathematical operations. So we multiply the current product by the current value, we add the sum by the current value, and we're gonna be doing that for all the numbers or all the digits in our num array. And when we're done with that, we're gonna loop out of this and then perform this operation, product minus sum, and we're left with our result. So let's go over number 2 or example 2 example. 4 4 oops, n is 4 4 2 1. So first thing we do is we convert this to an array. 4 4 2 1. Remember, these are strings, and we have our product, we have our sum. So we start with 1, we start with 0 for this one. So in the first loop, we multiply this by 4, we add this by 4, multiply by 4, add this by 4, multiply by 2, plus 2, multiply by 1, and plus 1. So the product is going to equal to 32, and sum is going to equal to 11. And we're going to return products minus sum, right? So product minus sum, which is going to be 32 minus 11, and we'll end up with 21. And 21, we have 21 as our output here too.